In this training, we're going to go over how you set up a basic DM automation. This is a great foundational training because in it, I'm going to show you all the nuances that work, whether you're in the features, whether you're in the flows, all of the features, all of the different things that you create in here work very similar. So this is a foundational training to understand how each of them work. Now you can add a single individual automation to your post by literally coming to your dashboard. You can come up here to posts and reels. You can also come up to stories and you'll see the stories that you have that are active now that haven't expired that you can add to as well. Now you can click on set up LinkDM in this section, or you can scroll down and click set up link in here. Otherwise, you can come down the side here and you can set up the automation here. So I'm just going to click here and we are going to come in and look at this. Now, when would I use this? I'm using this when it's like a once-off thing. It's not a word that I'm going to use all the time. So for instance, I might be doing a podcast episode release. So this one is designed to specifically work for that podcast episode. So it would have its own YouTube link. This is when I would use this feature here. Now, I'm not going to show you in this video how to do follow-up messages. We're going to have a whole different flow video on that. This is just how can I get something up super fast and link it to a post. Now, when we do it this way, we are linking it to that individual post. Now, what you can do is you can set up a template, which I'll show you how to do here when we come to it. And that means that you can use that template across any of the posts that you want to do. So maybe you are spending this week promoting that podcast episode or that offer, for example, then you have a template there that you can just use. And then we talked about in the overview video the other ways that we use templates. So this here under the DM setup, this here is our main screen, and this is the same in Universal Triggers. Universal Triggers just has a few extra options. Now in here we have the button template. Now we use the button template when we have a link like this one here where we want to be able to track the number of clicks. So basically you're looking at your conversion rate, the number of messages sent in comparison to the number of link clicks, for example. Now here this has got a carousel slider, so you can add a slide here. You can have up to 10 slides, but each of them has to have a link. So if you are only showing one episode, then you would have just one link, one slide. But you can have up to 3 links per slide, and you can have 10 slides, so 30 links. Please God, don't do that, because talk about overwhelmed. There's this old saying that says a confused mind doesn't buy. Well, that would definitely be an example of a confused mind. If you do accidentally add a carousel slider, then you can just bin it up here as well. Now, if you come down here, I would suggest that you do this in this order, because what I've found is if you write your headline and you write your description, then you come back and put your link in, it completely wipes everything you've written. So one of the good practices that I have is I always write everything in like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. So if I lose everything, I haven't lost everything. Okay, so the order to do this in is you first put in your links and then you customize your button name. Like you might have watch the training as an example. Then what we do is we go and we upload an image. So if you want to have a specific image, then this is where that you would put it. Now, the aspect ratio that we found works the best is the old Instagram square post, which is 1080 by 1080. That's when you get the display of the image full without it actually being cut off. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, your headline here is basically, I use this just as normal message text, like what you would use in ManyChat. It's just bolded text. So this is where you type your message. And as you can see, that appears as the bolded text here. Now, I don't personally use descriptions, so I just delete the description because I want it to just look like a bolded message. In your headline area, you have 600 characters at the time of recording, and in your description area, you have around 80 characters at the time of recording. So this is when then you can save it as a template. You can also send DMs to previous comments. So if you've put the post on Instagram, you come in to set up the automation and someone's been super quick and they've commented, then you can send them the DM. So this is part of the rewind feature. Now that's how you use a button template. Here you also have a message template. So when I'm doing what I call a riddle reveal, which is a strategy I teach you inside my DM automation course, because literally if you don't have a strategy and systems behind what you're doing, it's not going to work. It's not going to give you the results that you want. But what I use the message for is when I have given them a reel and I say to them a soft call to action, like want the secret 5th tip, or want the 3 tips that I use to grow my engagement, make more sales and get speaking opportunities. They say yes, they comment the trigger word, and this here is just a message of value. And what I have usually, this message of value starts a flow sequence. But this is basically where you can just type a normal message that looks like a normal message. So if you're someone who is using this to start conversations, which, hello, of course, if you're a smart business owner, you are, you might use this feature because it looks like a normal message. Now, sometimes I don't personally care about knowing the link clicks because the software that I use for my sales funnels, it tracks all the link clicks anyway. So I want my messages to feel like I typed them. So this is where I would use it as well. I can again save it as a template and send it here. Now you can put links by literally just pasting a link into here. You do not control the image that previews. It will just preview whatever your social media image is on your website thing. That's a whole different conversation. But that's how you use that. You have the ability to use your saved template, obviously. So if you're using something over and over again, you can do that. And then Instagram posts or reels, which is what we were talking about in the overview, where you can actually click on this. So this is where it's going to bring up all your reels, and you can tick the one that you want it linked to, and you can fire off that automation. So this is where, again, where it says comment the word blah, they commented the word blah, and now I'm taking them to a specific carousel that expands on it, that's more of a conversion content, or I'm taking them to a masterclass that grows their knowledge, because this DM has started a conversation for me. The masterclass warms them up, then I can come back and go ask them any questions, did you need any help, blah blah blah, or I can run a flow sequence on it as well as a follow-up. So that's what this feature does. So super cool if you're linking together videos for like series, or you're linking to conversion content and you're using teasers, because obviously, as we know in the Instagram algorithm, at the time of recording, the 2 biggest forms of content that are getting reach are like those 5 to 7 second reels with trending audio or music, and it's just text on screen with B-roll, or carousels. So if you're doing something like talking to a camera, like face to camera, sometimes you have something where you're like, I'm talking about sales funnels and tips for sales. So my conversion content obviously is not going to get much reach because I'm using words that the algorithm doesn't want me to use. So what I can do is I can create teaser reels, those 5 to 7 second reels that lead to the piece of content that warms people up. But because they have commented the keyword, I can now search them in my messenger. On top of that though, I now have their name. They have raised their hand as something that's interested in this. Okay, so huge amount of logic that goes behind that. Now again, you have the option to set up a keyword. You have the option to set up all words. You have the option to set up an emoji. So if you want to include an emoji in your messages, or you want to include an emoji for people to, like drop the flame emoji if you want it, you can go to emojipedia.org and you can search for it. So for instance, fire emoji, and hit enter. Whoops, nails. You can see it here. I click on it and I copy it, and now I have the fire emoji. So if I was to go back to this here message, so let me go here and just paste it. So copy it and then paste it. All right, so that is the emojis. Mentions only if people are mentioning you in stories. So you might have a 20% off coupon, or some kind of value add, or some kind of secret training that you give them, etc. Settings, delay the message. If you're getting a lot of messages, you might want to delay the messages by a minute. Of course, you can have custom replies that you put specifically on this particular DM, or you can actually set up just standard custom replies in the custom replies where I showed you where it is. Okay, Now, of course, here you can also tick and add a automation on and create a custom starter DM that will override the one that you have in Flow if you wanted to make it tailored to this specific automation. And once you've done that, you click save and you are ready to go. That is literally how easy it is to set up a basic DM flow automation in LinkDM. There is no trying to draw lines. There's no big freaking pads where you get lost. It is literally just click, click, tick, tick, type.